In our previous videos, we explored how rising tensions between major global powers, from the United States and Iran to conflicts across the Middle East, have been reshaping international politics. We looked at how military actions, alliances, and retaliation cycles are slowly increasing pressure across multiple regions. But today, a bigger question is starting to dominate global discussions. Some analysts, commentators, and even political leaders are asking, are we witnessing the early stages of something far larger? Today, we're going to break down the question many people are asking right now. Has World War III already started? Or are we simply seeing the most dangerous geopolitical tensions in decades? Is the world quietly sliding toward a global conflict? Why are military tensions rising across Europe, the Middle East, and Asia at the same time? And perhaps the most important question, are the current conflicts connected, or are they separate crises happening all at once? Because history shows that major wars rarely begin with a single moment. Instead, they build slowly through rivalries, alliances, and strategic miscalculations. Tonight, we're going to examine the facts, the risks, and what might happen next. Over the past few years, global tensions have risen sharply. The most obvious flashpoint remains the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine. When Russian forces launched their invasion, the conflict quickly became the largest military confrontation in Europe since World War II. Western countries responded with economic sanctions, military aid, and diplomatic pressure. But unlike past regional conflicts, this war involves a nuclear-armed superpower directly confronting a country backed by Western alliances. That alone has made analysts nervous about the possibility of broader escalation. Another reason tensions feel so dangerous is the complex web of alliances around the world. For example, the United States and many European countries are part of NATO, a military alliance designed for collective defense. Under NATO's core principle, an attack on one member is considered an attack on all. On the other side, Russia has been strengthening strategic relationships with countries like China and Iran. While these partnerships are not formal military alliances in the same way NATO operates, they still represent powerful geopolitical alignments. And that creates the kind of rival power blocks that historically appear before large-scale global conflicts. Another factor fueling World War III fears is the number of crises happening simultaneously. Beyond Eastern Europe, tensions are rising in several key regions. In the Middle East, rivalry between Iran and Israel continues to create instability. In Asia, competition between the United States and China has intensified over trade, technology, and security issues. And in several regions, smaller conflicts are becoming increasingly tied to the interests of larger powers. This creates a dangerous environment where multiple flashpoints could interact with one another. Historically, that kind of interconnected instability can sometimes trigger larger global crises. Russian leadership under Vladimir Putin views global politics very differently from many Western governments. From Moscow's perspective, the expansion of NATO toward Russia's borders has long been seen as a strategic threat. Russia's military strategy often focuses on maintaining influence in nearby regions and preventing rival alliances from gaining ground. At the same time, Russia also wants to avoid direct military confrontation with NATO countries, because such a conflict could escalate quickly and unpredictably. So much of the current strategy involves pressure, signaling, and influence, rather than direct confrontation between major powers. Despite rising tensions, there are several reasons why a full global war has not erupted. The first and most obvious reason is nuclear deterrence. Countries like the United States, Russia, and China all possess nuclear arsenals capable of catastrophic destruction. This creates what analysts call mutually assured destruction. In simple terms, if one side launches a nuclear attack, the other side can respond with devastating consequences. Because of that reality, leaders tend to avoid direct military conflict between nuclear-armed powers. Instead, competition often takes place through indirect methods like sanctions, proxy conflicts, cyber operations, and political influence. Even though global leaders generally want to avoid a large-scale war, the risk of miscalculation always exists. History has shown that major conflicts sometimes begin because of misunderstandings, accidents, or sudden escalations. For example, during the Cold War, there were several moments when tensions between nuclear powers came dangerously close to open conflict. Communication channels between governments are therefore extremely important. Diplomatic backchannels often work quietly behind the scenes to prevent crises from spiraling out of control. But in today's world of rapid news cycles and social media pressure, managing those tensions can be even more difficult. There are several scenarios analysts watch closely. A direct military clash between NATO forces and Russian forces would be one of the most serious escalation risks. Another possibility would involve multiple regional conflicts merging into a larger confrontation involving major powers. And a third risk involves technological warfare, cyber attacks, satellite disruption, or other forms of strategic competition escalating unexpectedly. These scenarios are not inevitable, but they are closely monitored by security experts around the world. Right now, most experts agree on one key point. The world is experiencing a period of intense geopolitical rivalry, but it has not yet crossed the threshold into a global war. Instead, we are witnessing a complex environment where powerful nations are competing for influence, security, and strategic advantage. This kind of rivalry can last for years, sometimes even decades. The real question is whether global leaders can manage these tensions without allowing them to spiral into something much more dangerous. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you believe today's rising tensions could eventually lead to a larger global conflict? Or do you think diplomacy and deterrence will prevent a world war from ever happening? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Respectful discussion is always welcome. And if you want more deep geopolitical analysis like this, explaining the global forces shaping our world, make sure you subscribe, because the story is still unfolding, and the next chapter may arrive sooner than anyone expects.